you tell us, after Pulwama, we did see how Muslims, Kashmiri students all over India were under attack. So wasn't this propaganda, wasn't this fake news, in fact, inciting violence?
Absolutely. I mean, Ms. Hira is actually pretty spot on that. The fact that, there are images of the Iraq war flashing across Indian screens and is definitely incitement. I mean, Kashmiri students across India were told to leave their universities. What else? There is no other proof. This is war journalism. This war journalism, what it means is basically journalism that incites war, that creates an environment that is conducive to war. And we all know, and this is not just in India, across the world, whenever there is a war, nationalistic sentiment rises. And that nationalist sentiment is going to feed into, like we discussed earlier, Narendra Modi's campaign, how he won previously on the nationalist sentiment as well. He's trying to increase that right now.
Yeah.
Mostly because to gain weight, gain votes, also to make sure that people kind of forget.
Ravi, so I take your point here about what Modi is trying to do, but what we were seeing post-Pulwama was how journalists, independent media houses, social media, it was ransacked with a hate speech. It was talking about war claims. What do you think happened there exactly? Was there a complete lapse in editorial policy, or was the editorial policy geared towards wanting to escalate tensions?
I think the editorial policy was driven by what the government wanted. It was driven by the government's what they wanted to achieve, what they wanted to get out of this. The editorial policy was actually probably manipulated to an extent that it was completely aligned with what the government wanted you to believe. Not just what the government wanted the international media to believe, but also what they wanted their own citizens to believe. And it's very interesting to note that recently when there was the union minister, this guy called Ahluwalia, who blamed the Indian armed forces for actually putting out figures, which were also the Indian media for putting out figures that were not credible.
Yeah.
I mean, that is coming from their own government, and the Indian army is saying we're not in the place to count casualties. Then you have to ask yourself whether this is even a democracy, because in a democracy, the message is in the government and the military are aligned on the same page, and at this point it seems like it's not. The Indian media is completely not coming, like it's not aligned with the Indian military.